I was just patient, never try skating. Fuck niggas hating.
I believe that women were created to be helpmeets and supportive of men. That doesn't mean that I think that a man can't or shouldn't support a woman. If you are, you know, familiar with my channel, I like to keep things fair. I'm a spiritual man, and I have a past of my own, so I have experience as well. So I can speak on these topics, and it's not something that I'm just speculating on. It's not. I don't go surf the web looking for videos to determine what I'm going to talk about. I think to myself, what have I seen? What have I done? What have I experienced? What have I been exposed to? And I think about it from a sense of I would like to validate other men who are on the same path as me, and also men who might be looking for guidance, but they don't want to hear the same typical, generic, toxic, superficial game that you hear when you watch online dating videos. So I intentionally go the opposite direction. But in this video, I wanted to break down something. Modern women are actually following the lead of toxic men. If they were following the lead of good men, then their behaviors will be different. I'll get to that in a second. But we, all of us men, myself or other people who do more spiritual and enlightening content for men, and also men who are toxic and, more pride-based and ego-based material, we're all saying that we all agree on one thing, that a woman's job was or position or purpose is to be a helpmeet. I hate helpmeet. I like helpmate, but you hear this all over the on internet. Her job was to, or her purpose was to be a helpmeet to a man. I agree. I believe that Adam his purpose was to tend to the garden, and God had a plan for him to make sure that the garden was tended to, and he gave him a purpose. He gave him a job, and he would have been successful if he stuck to that purpose. And then I feel like God realized, you know what? I got my man out here all by himself. Ain't no poom poom around. I'm paraphrasing, of course. You know what I'm saying? What is he going to do? You know what I'm saying? I don't want him out here messing with the sheeps and stuff like that. So he created woman. He laid him down, put him into a slumber, took his rib, created Eve. And then her job was to be a companion to that man and a helpmate, and to assist him and to support him and give him the much needed nourishment, for lack of a better word at the moment, and motivation. Like, all right, I'm going to do this, and now I'm going to do this for my lady. And then this is where a lot of people, right here at this point, because this is in the book of Genesis, in the very beginning, this is where a lot of people already get confused with just this one subject right here, with it being Adam and Eve, right? This is where the men who advocate that they're supposed to take care of a woman get it twisted already. They feel like, well, God made women so we could take care of them. No, he made the garden, and we were supposed to take care of the garden. And then he made women to be a helpmate to us. Okay? This is where it's already getting screwed up. It's like they go way back. They go over to the top and screw that up so that everything that follows the very top is already destroyed in destruction. But I'm not making this to argue with anybody. I'm not going to go back and forth with anybody. You can believe whatever you want to believe. I believe a woman was supposed to be a helpmeet to a man. God didn't say, tend to my fields, Adam. And by the way, I'm going to create a woman and tend to her too. Make sure that you tend to the fields and make sure you tend to this woman. No, he said, tend to the fields, woman for you. You take care of that. I take care of you. Here goes woman. Woman's for you. She's companion, helpmeet, supportive, sex, everything included. That's just my own belief. Okay, not to devalue a woman and say that she doesn't have any significance or ability to be independent minded or assist in any kind of intellectual way, maybe help a man make decisions. Married people or mature people and people who treat women as equals intellectually to a degree, they understand where I'm coming from. You respect your woman. You're not saying, "Oh, shut up, woman. You're just a help me. You're supposed to submit to me and do whatever I say do." That's not how we treat women. If that's how you do it, to each their own. But let me break down to you in this video, though, how modern women are actually still being followers, but they're following toxic men. And so this is going to be something that contradicts maybe the way you might view a modern woman, but it's only for educational purposes. And just to crack some atoms with you, or to, give you food for thought, right? My point that I'm trying to make here is that a modern woman, she is going to be a follower regardless. The man is always going to be the leader, even though she thinks that she's going to be, thrive through being a rebellion. And I'm not following the rules. I'm not following your lead. You still are following the lead. Let me explain to you why I feel like a modern woman is still following the lead. Number one, because because toxic men tell other men to be nonchalant, act like they don't care, take your time to respond to a woman, don't respond emotionally. Some of this I do agree with. I'm not going to respond to a woman emotionally. I'm not going to give a woman total emotional control over me. That's not the kind of man that I am, but I am not nonchalant. Okay, so he's going to tell you to pretend to be nonchalant. Some of this stuff you're going to see is like, okay, if you're a fair-minded man, you're going to say, I see where they got it screwed up. Just like in the beginning where I just mentioned how God created Eve to be a companion and a helpmeet to Adam. There's going to be men that gets that screwed up right then from the very top, and they're going to say, no, God created Eve to be for Adam to take care of. I'm like, show me where that's written. Okay, so if men are telling you to be nonchalant and to not be emotional, pieces of this make sense. Crumbs of this. I wouldn't tell you to respond. I would tell you to not respond emotionally to any woman, because women are more emotional based and men aren't. So once we do tap into our emotions, we become very toxic. We become very unhinged. We become very off kilter, off balance, because that's not our purpose. We weren't supposed to be this emotional creature. We were supposed to be productive, and we were supposed to serve a purpose that is more logical. You know what I'm saying? And instead of it being an emotional thing and doing all the crying and, show me enough attention, this shouldn't be the behavior of a man. But this is what you're going to see in women. They're more dependent on men, because that's what, obviously they were created to be, a companion to a man. So you're going to see something right here. Men who live a certain kind of way, they got the beginning screwed up. They got how the story started. They already misinterpreted the beginning of the story. I'm not going to waste no more time on that one, but keep this in mind that these men, these toxic men, they got the beginning of the story screwed up already. And that's why their brain is scrambled and their behavior is dysfunctional, and they think it's justifiable to do the things I'm about to talk to you about in this video here. So because men advocate, or toxic men encourage other men to be nonchalant and act like they don't care, because of that, and the fact that modern women follow their lead, women avoid emotional connections, because men are taught by other toxic men to act like they don't care. So because of this, a woman saying, okay, men act like they don't care. Okay, I'm going to avoid an emotional connection with men, right? And she's going to entertain multiple men in order to sustain this, in order for her to sustain that ability to stay out of her feelings. Because if you're going to act like you don't care and her feelings matter to her, self-preservation dictates that she keeps her feelings to herself. And being that women are emotionally based, in order for her to attempt to at least appear to be successful at not having any feelings that you can hurt, she would need to entertain other men when you're not around. And there's going to be lames, goofies, beta males on her roster that feed her the substance that she needs to be confident enough to come back to you and act like she doesn't care either. See, this is immature. Yes, but that's not the point. I'm not going to elaborate on how immature it is, but it's immature for a woman. But a woman being an emotional creature, okay, I'm not justifying that. That's her immaturity levels, but her being an emotional creature, though, kind of like, man, emotional people kind of are immature. Just keep it real, And then that it kind of like you can see why men say, "Oh, stay out your feelings and be nonchalant." But there's pieces that are not helpful. So a woman following the lead of a toxic man, inadvertently, she thinks she's being rebellious, but she's still following the lead. If you catch my drift, she's following the lead because her behavior is a direct reflection of the man's behavior. Because men act like this, we're going to be what she thinks is rebellious and act like that. But really, allowing someone else to dictate your behavior is you being a follower. Ooh, somebody heard me out there. Somebody heard me out there. If you allow somebody else's behavior to dictate how you behave, you are being a follower, whether you're male or female. So these modern women are following the lead of toxic men. Toxic men have a toxic way of behaving and acting, and women like her, modern women, they have a toxic way of responding. Excuse me. And they respond with toxicity, reactive abuse. They are reacting to abuse with abuse. They are a follower. They are following the lead of toxic men. I got something juicy for you right here. This is going to be juicy. Okay? So she has to entertain multiple men in order to appear, at least, bare minimum, appear that she's out of her feelings. You don't call her, it doesn't matter. She's out on a date with somebody else. Even if she doesn't like him. Even if she's waiting on you. She has to entertain some other dude who's in her DM because you took too long to respond. This is why you can't take advice from toxic men. All players get played. You think you playing the game, you get played. And then they're going to justify it by saying, yeah, man, that's why you do, you stay out your feelings. I'm never going to advocate for that on my channel. I'm going to just show you an alternative route. And if you are a man who is like a sponge and soaks up real game, you're going to see, and you're going to be able to take what you want and use what you want, leave what you can't. And then you're going to be able to go about your life and make your own decisions and say, okay, this is what's best for me, because pretending doesn't do it for me. Okay. Number 2 reason why, or proof that modern women are following the lead of toxic men, is that because men tell other men how to fake being high value. Okay. And as if you are more successful than you really are. Because of this, because men say, oh, if you take your time to respond to her, if you post pictures that show you in the gym or only doing things that a successful man would do, if you pretend to be high value, then this is going to sustain her attraction to you. Because men do that, modern women say, okay. They say they want to charge you to date them. Check this out. They require you to do something that shows you actually have money before they entertain you. Because so many men are out here faking their value, and they believe that their value comes from how much money they make, not their character. You make 6 figures, you're a high value man. They say the word, they're harboring over the word value being something that is of higher value, therefore it can be purchased. So it's obviously a monetary thing. So their value is high because they have a high income, not because they have a high level of intelligence or high level of integrity or anything like that. Nah. Character traits, that don't mean you can be a good guy all you want to. Matter of fact, they call good guys lames and say that that's why you get played and cheated on, because you're a good guy. You have to be a cheater and all of this other stuff in order to sustain the attention or attraction of a modern woman. True. but we gonna make sure that we're talking about modern women, not all women or good women. Good women are way on the opposite side of the spectrum. They have nothing to do with this equation here. But my point is, because men fake their value, women say, okay, modern women, they say, okay, take me shopping. And that's when you see these videos where women are saying, if a man tells you, I'll see, when you ask him for money, avoid him because he don't got it. He's broke. Because if you are a high value man, excuse me, then spending shouldn't be a problem, right? Even if it's on somebody that you don't know. Interesting, isn't it? I'm going to show you something. Number 3, because men tell other men to lie to women. We got to lie to y'all. Y'all don't want to hear the truth. People don't want to hear the truth when the truth hurts them. If the truth is, I've never cheated on you, babe. If the truth is, I do genuinely love you. If the truth is, I'm doing my best and I am not trying to do anything to hurt you, that wouldn't hurt anybody. So telling the truth under those circumstances wouldn't hurt anybody, and it wouldn't be something that you would have to lie about. You wouldn't lie to a woman and say, yeah, I cheated on you last night. It's like that movie Boys in the Hood, when Cuba Gooding Jr. or Trey lied to his father, played by not Morgan Freeman, excuse me, you know who I'm talking about. When he lied to his dad and said that he lost his virginity, even though he was still a virgin, he felt bad when he was riding in a car with Morris Chestnut. He's like, I lied to Pops, man. I told him I lost my virginity. He said, you ain't a virgin, are you? And then Morris Chestnut laughed at him. Okay. He lied to his dad. Cuba Gooding Jr. in that movie lied to his dad and told him that he wasn't a virgin. And his dad responded in a way that he didn't expect. His dad was like, did you use a Jimmy? And he said, nah, man. She said she was on the pill. Made up the whole story. And he didn't get the results he was looking for. He thought lying to his dad about not being a virgin, even though he was, his dad was going to be like, okay. Because he was looking for a sort of validation. He was looking for his dad to say, it's okay to go out there and lose your virginity, son. And he didn't expect his dad to say, be responsible. Somebody heard that. So a man is not going to lie typically about good things. He's going to lie about things that will destroy his character, destroy his living situation, circumstances, his relationship. Okay? Because his behavior is not aligned with what he's portraying and who he's portraying to be. So he has to lie. He cannot afford to be transparent in those circumstances, because being transparent, he would lose the girl. Somebody's going to hear this. Excuse me. So because men tell you that you have to lie to women, and they encourage you to lie to women, because of this, women don't believe a word a man says, even if he is a good guy. So you being upfront and honest, we just bred a whole roster of insecure women who don't believe nothing that men say, because men advocate for lying. So now you have a woman who's going through your phone. Now you have a woman that's insecure and that you have to patch up from some man that she dated before you that she couldn't trust. And now she's like, I'm sorry, I just been through a lot. She's trauma bonded. You know what I'm saying? You're like, man, I don't want to deal with an insecure woman. But this is what men encourage other men to do online. To lie. So when she gets with you, whether or not you're a liar or not is to be determined. But even if you haven't shown her anything, she just thinks that you're just skilled at being a manipulator. Because she went through your phone and didn't see anything, she wants to break up because she's like, I'm supposed to find something. He must have erased it out of his phone before I got to it. Men, toxic men, are breeding more insecure women. That a good man comes along and he tries to entertain and he can't do anything with her because she's damaged goods. Moving on, because I got some good stuff for you here today. Number 4, because men hyper-focus on a woman's sexuality and we sexualize women and we give her an abundance of validation, and damn, you look sexy. And hey, as soon as you see a woman who's half naked, you running. Let me holler at you. Oh, you got a boyfriend? Well, can you have friends? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that you got a bad man. How long you had that problem? You don't care what her marital status is. You still want to talk to her even though she's married. You're in the inbox. You're commenting on all her pictures. You're like a dog with a little pink thing hanging out. Because toxic men do not have any kind of sexual control. Because of that, women are hyper focused on sexualizing themselves. They don't want to leave the house unless they have on hair that looks aesthetically pleasing, eyebrows, eyelashes, contacts, lip liner and gloss, boobs and push-up bras, BBLs and six packs, and all of the things that make them look more appeasing and more sexually desirable. This isn't something that they do on their own. They're influenced and they're following the lead of toxic men. Okay? They are overly sexualizing themselves, jumping on strip poles and all that stuff and becoming prostitutes, and they know that men overvalue their body and their body parts, so they sell them. I can make money off of my body parts because they are inadvertently following the lead of toxic men who are not leaders, men who are who have succumbed to their own weaknesses, their own lustful desires. Moving on. Because, number 5, because high value men, quote unquote, advocate that being a top tier man means that he has the resources that a woman needs and wants. Therefore, that's what makes him a top tier man, because I make over $100,000 a year. I can take care of a woman. A woman's job is to, just be feminine and to look good, and I'll cover all the bills, because they advocate for this type of lifestyle. Although at the same time, they believe that they should have, options, and they don't focus on character, because I believe that a high value or a top tier man is based on his character, because the money is going to come with the man who has purpose and who pursues his purpose. But a man of good character is going to be a man who of good character with money, and he's going to be a good leader because he has good character. He's not going to be a good leader because he has money. Okay? You have people who are in leadership positions who have money, but they're not good characters. Having the money does not dictate whether or not you are a good leader or not. Having money and resources does make a lot of things accessible to you, but who you are plays at least 50% of the role of being a good leader. Now, because men consider themselves top tier, because they do things that make sure that they are aesthetically pleasing, they go get fit, they make sure that they wear muscle shirts, and they get ripped up, and they got six packs, and then they make $100,000 a year. But their intention is just to explore their options. Because of that, okay, modern women date a man for his provisions, not his character. She's not even focused on his character. His character means nothing. Okay, so why would she look for a man's character? She's following the lead of a toxic man who advocates that a man's money what makes him more valuable. And so she says, okay, well, I want a man with money then. Come on now. How could you say that a woman isn't following your lead? You are telling her what to look for inadvertently as a toxic man. Oh, I'm a high value man because I make six figures. Okay, good. She values a man who makes six figures. She doesn't care about your personality, your character, who you are as a man. And the second you fall down and you don't have six figures, you go down to five figures for a couple of months, you lost the girl. And as soon as another man comes around who makes 7, 8 figures, you lost the girl. you have created your own monster. I'm going to move on. Because, number 6, because men want to have multiple women or live a polygamous lifestyle or have open relationships, because men feel that it was intended for men to have multiple wives, and we were made to procreate, and we were supposed to have high body counts, because men think this. Okay? Women think that, and in addition to that, because men you know, are on, or well, I kind of just summed it up, but sorry, I have to revisit it. Because of this mentality of one woman not being enough, and it's not supposed to be the way of life. That's why we have women who are strictly interested in casually dating, being just friends, okay, being in open relationships. You can't find a woman as a good man, because modern women are following the lead of toxic men, and they're saying, okay, looking for a man and making myself available to a man in a monogamous way would just get me hurt. So let me date men casually, lackadaisical. Let me say that we're just friends so I can entertain other men. And then on top of that, I'm going to make sure he has provisions and things that he can provide so that I can justify my own behavior. This is when you have women who say they clown each other. If a woman is dating a man and the man isn't paying her bills, the modern woman would tell that other woman, "Oh, you're freaking for free. You're giving up free box." And that's an insult to another woman, another modern woman. I had to find ways to word that. But this is what you hear when amongst the banter of a modern woman with modern women. They down talk women who date a man for his character. They talk bad about women who look for actual love instead of a woman who is out here trying to sell it. Okay, because toxic men feel like monogamy wasn't the intentions. We were supposed to spread our seed. Modern women are following your lead. My point is being proven here in all of these points here. Number 7, because men will pay for sex. They will take her on trips and fly her out upon first meeting her, because men are doing this. This isn't a myth. It's happening every day. And they're proud. They're rapping about it in their songs. They're doing it, right? Because men are this way. Toxic men are this way. Good men are boring. She wants excitement. She wants random men in random countries. She doesn't want to fly that. She wants you to fly her to. She wants a random man to fly her to a different country, and she wants to have intimate situations and relations with that random man in a random country before she comes back home. She is living for the experience. This is when you will see, I love to travel. How many modern women say, I love to travel? Fly me out. Where are we going? I love to travel. Okay? So, because men are paying for trips, are flying women out, modern women are saying, I love to travel. Please, let's do that. They are following the lead of toxic men. Okay? Number 8, because men are avoidant when it comes to looking for real love or sustainable relationships and connections, because men don't advocate for that. They're like, love? Nah, man. I'm not finna make myself vulnerable to no woman so she can hurt me. Because men are not talking about that, are not looking for that at all, toxic men, because of that, she views men who catch his feelings as weak. A modern woman views a man who catches feelings as weak, vulnerable, gullible, simp, etc., because she is following the lead of toxic men. Lastly, number 10, because men say don't date women with kids. Because toxic men say don't date women with kids. And I've heard all kind of lame ass reasons. Oh, because you can't discipline. I don't want to discipline another woman's or man's kids. I have my own. Okay? So that's not even a desire of mine. But because toxic men say don't date women with kids. Because they say this. Okay? They feel like, oh, But it's crazy because if a man is telling you don't date women with kids, but he believes that a man is supposed to have a high body count, so that implies that you have maybe, let's say, for sake of math, a man's body count is going to be around 100, and with his body count being around 100, he's only dating women without kids. But let's be real. There are men who every single woman they have a relation with, they end up pregnant. They end up getting pregnant. So now we have men who are having kids that they don't take care of and they don't claim, that live in a different state or country. And so now he's creating single mothers. He's raising his body count. He's dating a woman with no kids, turning her into a single mother. Because of this behavior, because men are advocating to not date single mothers, but at the same time, they are maximizing their body count. And there are going to be some slip-ups and mishaps of women turning into single mothers as a result. Because of that, she is more prone to having flings or short-term relationships. Okay? Meanwhile, avoiding having kids. And this is how you get women who are up in age who don't have any kids. Because she thinks by not having kids, because she's following the lead of these men who put women with kids down, she thinks that she will sustain her value as wifey material by not having any kids at 40 years old. She thinks that she will sustain her sex market value because she doesn't have kids at 40 years old. She believes that she will not be put in the category of woman who should be overlooked because she is 40 years old with no kids. This woman is clearly following the lead of men who stress to other men, don't date a woman with kids, as if having kids mean that she was the only one of poor character or poor choices. When there are men who date women without kids, get them pregnant, and don't take care of the kids, and they disappear. There's not always going to be the woman's fault as to why she is a single mother. Now, in closing on this video, I want to stress that this is when you have the difference between a modern woman and a good woman. Okay? This is necessary to mention here. A good woman isn't following the lead of a toxic man. And because she isn't, she has a certain level of disdain or contempt towards these kind of men. And there's a certain way of thinking, if she's been raised right, that she's going to have, and that is going to align her with her purpose of finding a man who is more righteous. Number one, she's not going to date men that she views as rude, classless, thirsty, sex-driven, who approach her in any kind of sexual manner. This is going to turn her off. Rightfully so. Amen. Okay, so damn, man, you look good. She already knows what side of the fence you're on. Okay, women are not as dumb as we thought they were. They are either following the lead and they are coming up with ways to counter your negative behavior, or they don't have time to entertain it, and they say, look, if a man even talks like this, I don't want him. Number two, she doesn't want her time wasted with games and spills that sound good in the beginning, only to be found out that he was capping the whole time. So you thinking that you need to lie to a woman? If this woman finds out that you are a liar, she's out of there. First time you lie, she's out of there. She's not going to be stuck in no trauma bond with you with no liar because you're a high value man. She's out of there. She knows to avoid men who lie. Number 3, she looks for great leadership skills, good sense of direction, good decision making, calm, wise, and competent. Character, not how much money you make. Okay? So the point is that these modern women seek provisions. A good woman says she seeks character. You having provisions is a plus. But she doesn't want provisions without character. She wants character with provisions. Number 4, she needs a man who is goal-driven and focused, far from lazy. He's a go-getter, good with priorities and on top of his responsibilities. So she's still looking for a man who is focused, a man who goes to work, that's fine. That's goal-driven. A man who has things to reach, goals to reach, that's good. A man who's focused, that's good to him. A modern woman wants a woman who's focused on her. A man who's already sustained himself in a financial manner, who is willing to blow the bag, throw it in the bag. Lastly, number 5, a good woman is looking for a man with a clean and respectful appearance, who's not sagging his pants, nothing thug or bad boy about him. Because bad boys, they carry sticks, aka big pistols, and they drape themselves in millions of dollars worth of jewelry. Dramatic, but you get my point. They drive Hellcats and they burn out up the street. They showboat, they floss. Everything on them is designer. You know, she's going to avoid a man like that. So, sorry about that. So, my point is, modern women are following the lead of toxic men, and good women don't want nothing to do with them. Okay? And a woman claiming to be good is not good enough. But obviously, you're going to see that a good woman, you can't even run that play on her. She is being coached by women of substance. You know what I'm saying? And she's going to avoid interacting with men who carry themselves like that. So if this video helped you out, if put any kind of food for thought in your head, if it resonates with you or anything like that, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe. But if you are new to my channel, my name is Jerome, and this has been another episode of The Superb Word. And until next time, 2 fingers, y'all. All right.